Last year was a relatively late influenza season, and I would say this one is a relatively early influenza season. We see it frequently that school-age children, transmission within that age group is often first, and then there's further community transmission and eventually hitting our older population. And that's obviously due to the nature of interactions that school-age children have that allows them to transmit influenza. Thankfully, school-age children are at lower risk of having severe complications of their influenza infection, so requiring hospitalization. But certainly, children with underlying medical conditions and those that are very young, especially under 2 years of age, are at increased risk of hospitalization. We're seeing a lot of emergency room visits for influenza now. A few hospitalizations, yes, and there's a national surveillance network that we're part of here in the Montreal Children's Hospital, covering 15 different pediatric centers across Canada. We're starting to see a predominance of the subtype of influenza A called H3N2, and H3N2 seasons tend to hit particularly in a disproportionate way, more intensely, our older population. So elderly people are more vulnerable to H3N2 and developing severe disease with H3N2. So H3N2 seasons tend to be much heavier on the healthcare system in general because of all those hospitalizations and mortality associated with influenza infection in our elderly populations. What we've seen is that the virus evolved a little bit from the time that the choices were made for the vaccine strains, and the H3N2 strain that is circulating is not a perfect match with what is in the vaccine. But nevertheless, I think the message is that for H3N2, there still seems to be some protection, and it's worthwhile to get it for that. But also for the other components in the vaccine, the H1N1, the influenza B that tends to circulate after the influenza A season.